All right, thank you for joining. Today we will go over Bitcoin on a CME futures chart. We're now looking at the weekly time frame, and as we can see here on the weekly time frame, is we have Bitcoin continuing to sell off. Right, this week it's been holding its own right above this critical support level, which sits at around 60,000 or 59,000. Now we had a lot of volume come in to create this very bearish weekly candle from last week. Now I'm assuming that what we will need is another high volume week or day to come in to break through this level, right? This is just a very strong support level. And once we break through here, my next area of interest will be around $50,800 to look for a long, because that is an area where you'll see we have a weekly order block, which is very important, right? If we go all the way back here for the ones watching on shorts, we had a weekly order block sitting right here. We can see price tested it once here, and that's more than likely where price is going to go in the next few weeks here. And on top of that, right in the middle, we have a yearly order block too as well. So this $50,000 level is the level I'm expecting to get a very big reaction from, to possibly even bring price right back up to close to 80,000 to challenge these highs, right? Now, for the ones that are watching me here on YouTube, watching the full video, very interesting price action. We have a clear, pretty much like a head and shoulders pattern in a way, right? You can kind of call this the head, and then this could be the shoulders. If price comes back down to this level, which I believe is exactly what's going to happen, very similar to what we saw. Let me go ahead and just take this magnet off really quick. Very similar to what we saw over here, right? Price came up, came down. We're kind of in this area right now before we get a little move up, which might have been exactly what we got to push price up to around 82,000. Now we're going to come back down, retest this level, which is right around 50,000 in today's day and age. And yeah, if we get a lot of selling volume, we break through that level, which same thing, if we get a lot of selling volume and break through this level, the next real major area of support is coming in at around $30,000, which is not impossible, right? Which kind of lines up exactly where this support level is, right? So interestingly enough, this level continued to be pushed all the way across, right? Pretty much lines up with the next key area of support and resistance. And then, yeah, of course, worst case scenario, you're looking at about another $15,000 Bitcoin, which is not impossible, right? It's definitely not impossible. It's still continuing to move along its 4-year cycle. So I'm assuming bearish price action for Bitcoin for at least another 6 months, right? Now, what will happen after those 6 months? Probably some sideways action and then the slow grind back up to the upside. And at some point next year, we start to see things pick up, leading to a sell-off, and then more than likely a slow grind up one more time. Hopefully no major events happen, like another pandemic or another war. But if so, Bitcoin has been very resilient. We are kind of in the middle of nowhere in terms of price action, not really a great area to long or short. If we go down to the daily, it's obviously favoring the longs because we just had this massive sell-off, right? Price has bounced at around 60,000, had a slight market structure shift. It's holding this local higher low, right? Looking to take out at least 64.5, and then once it takes out those highs, we will see, will it be able to flip that level into support and aim for higher prices, right? We really want to see something like this happen, and then for it to aim for higher prices. But we definitely need to flip the 63 to 64,000 and a half level into support before I can really be bullish. In my opinion, we are building some more liquidity. This kind of a trend line too as well is more so along the trend lines you want to see, because when you start to get these non-steep trend lines, they start to act as very strong supports. And then you typically will probably get price action like this. So this is a very interesting trend line just to keep an eye on. Wait for some pullbacks. Obviously not financial advice, but this is what I am looking to do here, right? Maybe wait for another pullback, target these levels right around 62,000 or even around around 62,000, expecting a breakout to eventually happen. And then, yeah, we'll probably be off to the races once we flip that level into support. And if we really want to, we can go ahead and pull some fibs from the high to the low and just see where a target would be. Let's go here. I'll put on this. Yeah, targeting 50% of this sell-off, which is around 71.5. Golden pocket sits at around 74,000, right? So between 72 to 75,000, could see where price ends up making its way back up to before continuing to sell off and move even lower, right? But it's definitely an area where I would just be leaning more long for the near term. Obviously, when you start going down to the very low time frames, like the 1 hour, 30-minute, then yeah, maybe you could find some scalp trades here and there, because we are at local highs. You're getting some rejections here. But yeah, it's not really going to be looking weak until you flip this support back into resistance, right? You flip this into resistance. Any price action up here. Be interesting to look for a short to take out these lows. Take out these lows, right into the trend line, right? It's just a way how to pretty much trade, in my opinion. Failed auctions are usually pretty reliable, especially once you get a nice move to the upside. You can see here as well was a failed auction, right? Right, price stayed above, sold off, stayed in the area, and then came and tackled and attacked some of these lows over here. Came back up, tested it, sold off again. You could even technically classify this right here as a failed auction to the upside. Went above the highs, lost it, short, aimed for the lows. And obviously it's always a lot easier to see it in hindsight, but yeah, failed auctions just seem to be some of the most reliable trade entries, because long story short, when you think about it, you know, the market is just a one big auction, right? Buying and selling. People want to buy it at the lows, and some people want to sell it at the highs, just like when you're buying and selling cars. So when you think about it, if no one's willing to buy it above these levels, then there's going to be more people willing to sell it, because they want to be out of this position and sell it at a high, because they realize there's not that many buyers. And then once there's not that many buyers, price comes down, and it has to find a price where people are willing to buy and agree that this is a nice level to buy. And once they find that those buyers step back in, then price starts to move in the opposite direction, right? So buyers stepped in right around here, around 62.3, and sellers are stepping in still at around 64,000, right? So once again, if we lose 63,000, possibility we get a little reaction here, 62. But yeah, we might just end up coming all the way back down, even back down to around 61,000. But if we lose this trend line, then yeah, we're definitely going to be aiming for 69 or even lower prices, in my opinion, which would then be around 52,000, right? So yeah, it's always best to take it level to level, mark out your highs, your lows, and trade price between those ranges, right? Just mark out your swing highs and swing lows. Long at the lows, sell at the highs, managing your risk. And realistically, if you know how to manage your risks while always just shorting at the highs and buying at the lows, you can pretty much trade any range between any swing levels, right? Because when looking at this in hindsight, if we were to use this swing low, right? And then we also used this swing high, you can say, okay, you know what? You could say this, right? We don't know what's going to happen, but we do know we just made a swing low and a swing high. So right now I'm going to do nothing, and I'm going to wait for price to either take out this low or take out this high. If it takes out the high, I'll short. If it takes out the low, I'll go long, right? So you're watching, price doing nothing, you do nothing. Okay, boom, takes out the low. All right. Then grab your tool, measure. It's around a 0.5% wick. So if you're risking 1% on every trade, people that are leveraged traders, you can possibly go up to 2x here, because if you do get stopped out, you're still only losing 1% of your account. So now you're long, you entered, right? You're looking, targeting the highs, or at least halfway of this range, right? If you were lucky enough to get in down here, you would have already hit a take profit 1, move your stop to entry, and then you just watch it play out. Boom, you get stopped out, but you already took profits right there, right? So now you wait. There's another swing low. The last swing high was technically up there. So you could then go ahead and trade. All right, this is a very significant swing low. You could then move this to maybe this swing high, right? And wait to see if price does anything. There you go, takes out the swing high. Let's just say you go short. You almost get stopped out, didn't quite get stopped out. You're still short. You would have hit take profit 1, move your stop to entry, aiming for the lows here. Doesn't quite get there, since we know now, right? Still in the trade, still in this trade. And I don't think you actually ever get stopped out yet. I don't think you get stopped out yet. And look at that, you still would not have been stopped out off this short here, stop loss above the high. If you did it right at the highs there, you would have got stopped out right there. But if you gave it a little bit of wiggle room, right, you'd have still been in the trade. And this is just where we are now. This is now the next important swing high. You can actually still keep the previous one, right? And then you just wait and see what happens. And that's all. That's really how it is. Patience and timing, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for joining. Remember to follow me on X, right? Try to post pretty often. Yeah, thank you for joining. Until next time, take care.